Banana. Okay.
Hello! What's going on, everybody? It's me, DJ Crispy, and here's Crispy's Solo Collections movie reviews. Basically, I'll just be coming in and describing a movie I just saw, usually in the theaters, and welcome to my new space. This is my new room, so you'll notice I have hella posters on the wall, just quite a few things that I'm interested in. But throughout the course of our videos, you're going to see all the things that I'm interested in, and in depth, more of a serious kind of tone, maybe even some philosophy regarding some of the things that we watch, and kind of sharing those things. And I advise you to share with me your opinions of these matters as well, because that's what connects us the most, and I think that's the coolest. So with that being said, I want to talk about scary stories to tell in the dark. Now, I wish I had a copy of the book, but I originally had it way back in the day, in the 90s. I remember I went over to my friend's house, and we set up in a little camp in his backyard, and he had a lot of acres, so this is back in Connecticut, and we had kind of a long day, dirt biking, and ATVs, and we kind of got into the night, the thick of the night, you know. It was a summer night in June, and we just kind of went out there, and somebody pulled out this book, this black book, with this demon skull on top of it. It said "Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark." I love books like this that have like little short stories. I thought it was like Shel Silverstein or something, just based on the like how long it was, but I could tell that this one was really different because the drawings were just grotesque and absolutely creepy. And from what I thought it was going into this movie, I thought it was like an anthology where it's like you have one story and then another one and then a completely unrelated one, and they're just like scary stories. But what I found from the movie is that it was more continuous and it was all connected. So, spoilers, obviously, I'm going to talk about the movie. So it basically revolves around this ghost, Sarah Bellows, who probably was tortured and not in a very good place in her house. And before that, it was Halloween night, and these three kids go out, Stella, Kurt, and Augie, and they all, I thought they were like pretty young. I thought they were like 10 maybe, and then I realized that they were like in high school because they had cars, because they ran into this like, I think it was a Mexican dude, but he had a car, and it was just like they were at the drive-in and they just ran into him because they were trying to escape this freaking bully named Billy, who, oh no, it's Tommy, sorry, Billy, Tommy, Chucky, whatever, Joey, you know. So that they go after this, basically, Kurt, I think it's, no, Chuck's brother, Chuck's sister is dating this weird ass dude, this bully, and then they like egg his car, and he comes after them. He's like a typical like drunk dude, and this is like the late 60s, I believe. I think it's like 68 is the setting, and we come out there, and they're running after him, and this guy's an asshole. He is the biggest piece of shit I've ever laid my eyes on. Just the way he walks and talks and just expects something out of everyone. He's just a douchebag. And you know the cliche is like in the typical scary stories is like, oh, like this guy's gonna get it first because he's an asshole. And like that's what I was thinking the whole time, like sitting there, like this guy is number one, like he's done. So I thought that was pretty funny that played out kind of like to the cliche, but it also surprised me a little bit. So basically they run away from Tommy, they go into a haunted house, and they tell the story of Sarah Bellows, and they're like, okay, well this is funny, ha ha ha, like she was tortured, like all this other stuff. And then they go and they find this secret room in the basement, which looks like a sex dungeon. And I'm like, okay, at that point you just don't go in there. Like, what are you doing? Like, don't do that. And so they go in there, and then Tommy comes around and locks them in the basement. And it's like another cliche of like horror movies, which is like they're stuck in the basement, and then they find some kind of an artifact, and then they like stupidly like chant it, like Evil Dead and like Cabin in the Woods, and these movies where you just like find something creepy and like don't leave it alone. Like, what do you expect is gonna happen? You're like asking for it. Anyway, the main character Stella is like a writer. She's really into like horror, like comics and stuff. So she finds the book, like scary stories to tell in the dark. But it's Sarah Bellows' book that she used to read to kids, and like basically she reads the stories and creates like a hellish story out of it that like the person that it's about it actually happens to. So subsequently, all of these people who are in the house at the time, once she takes the book starts writing stories about them, and each one of the stories is like one of the scary stories. I guess I'll just talk about one, just considering. Well, before I even say that, I would say that this movie is not super scary in terms of like, oh my god, like frighten my dreams, or like it was like this close to being like in my dreams, like frightening. But I kind of saw the characters before, so I was like not like totally scared. There was a couple jumps in there, not too many, which is good. More just gross, more just disgusting things. But to be honest with you, I was more scared with it in the haunted house. Like, I kind of preferred seeing them being in the house and stuck there, and then all this stuff plays out, because that like had this like claustrophobic feel to it, and I was like kind of sketched out about that, to be honest. But anyway, the first one that happens, of course, to Tommy, the bully. So he always like basically gets up late, drunk as fuck, and his mom like knows that he didn't bring eggs to like the neighbors or something. He's like, oh, I'll get the eggs, like whatever. And then he just like goes through the fields, the cornfields, and then he like knocks this like Harold the scarecrow. He keeps hitting it and like telling it off, and it's like his little like plaything, like fuck you, stupid ass scarecrow. And of course, Sarah starts writing about Tommy, and they figure this out, and then they go there, and the next morning, and they're like, did he just like become the scarecrow? Like, no, like what just happened here? And it just like becomes like a kind of an ironic thing, like almost like everyone gets what they deserve, but that's not really how it turned out, because I think his name is Kurt, the kind of like chubbier, like black-haired kid. He was like the comic relief character, which I thought was pretty funny actually. And his sister like was also in the house with Tommy and all them, so she kind of got cursed too. But she didn't like, basically like she has this in her face, and she doesn't want like anybody to like see that's like her personality, like, oh, I gotta be perfect, I gotta be absolutely perfect. Personally, I like girls without any makeup. It looks better on record. But I don't think like it kind of like plays to like who you are as like in your fears as a personality. But I am not sure if it like gives you what you deserve. It kind of just like, oh, like you're scared of this kind of thing happening, so that's what the story's gonna give you. And that's, in essence, scary stories to tell in the dark. I would honestly, I don't know if I should even rank movies that I put on here. I don't think that's my deal. I know this is a little more serious, but like, I know a lot of people just give like an 8 out of 10 or whatever. Like, I don't know if I want to do that. I also have a problem with going into like watching trailers to movies. Like, I didn't watch the trailer for this, and then I'm glad I did, because I kind of got more out of it. Same with Star Wars. Like, Star Wars is coming out, and I know there's people talking about it, and I just like didn't go on the Reddit, and I didn't like like basically it came out in theaters, like the preview, and I ran out of the theaters, and I'm like, okay, so like I don't want to see shit because it kind of ruins it, to be honest. So rankings, numbers, all that crap, just see it for yourself, and that's the best I can say. But tune in next time for Crispy's solo reviews.